Inside you, there are two shadows. One is Jack Frost, and the other is a table? Shadows in the Persona series are one of the best types of enemies that you can encounter in a JRPG. Not only are they all designed to look menacing, but its variety provides a welcome challenge, ranging from mythical bicorns, shrieking mandrakes, and even Ose, the president of hell. But this enemy variety weren't always present in Persona, as Persona 3 and 4 changed how shadows work as enemy encounters. Instead of duking it out against Pyrojack, players get to battle a glove with a mask, a bird with a mask, and a tank with a mask. It may sound bizarre, but they actually put up a tougher fight. But was it genuinely challenging or simply more unpredictable? This is the reason why Persona 5 Shadows are much better, not just in appearance but also in their logical game design. Just consider the difficulty level in other ATLUS games that use similar demon designs in their combat systems, especially Shin Megami Tensei, which happens to be the sponsor of today's video. Shin Megami Tensei 5 Vengeance is one of the best JRPGs that came out this year, and you can get it on sale this Black Friday with discounts of up to 40%. This game presents a real challenge because demon enemies not only hit harder, but they are also equipped with a diverse set of skills and attributes that makes the fight difficult and enjoyable. This is why the game received overwhelmingly positive reviews, since enemies will not shy away in taking advantage of the party's weaknesses, and they will even use status ailments to turn the table against the player. Fighting against Noma handed me more game overs than other JRPGs. I had to rethink my strategy by making my companion demon stronger, then granting Nahobino resistance against her dark skills, and finally besting her felt incredibly satisfying. So if you're looking for a tough but rewarding JRPG with a mature narrative, then Shin Megami Tensei 5 Vengeance is the game for you. It's available on PlayStation, Xbox, Nintendo Switch, and Steam. With a demo to try, then you can get it on sale for up to 40%. Thank you again, Shin Megami Tensei 5 Vengeance, for sponsoring today's video.
But I'll spare you a few final moments to curse your fate.
So how can I say that Persona 5 Shadow has more logical game design? It's because P3 and P4 Shadows force players to use random elemental attacks just to figure out their weaknesses. This type of enemy game design doesn't really make the fight hard, but rather unpredictable. The randomness of it takes away the challenge, as there's no actual tell that points players that this shadow table is weak against wind. Most of the time, you are at the mercy of chance in guessing what elements the shadows are weak to, especially that most of them share the same design with slight color variation. Compared to the demon design shadows used in Persona 5, if you see Firejack, it makes sense to use Garu against it, since wind can blow out fire. The same logic applies to the enemy shadow resistances such as Archangel, resisting blast attacks. Demon design shadows are also equipped with the right skills based on their lore. Like how Arabaki is immune to physical attacks, it can also erect a barrier against magic, since Arahabaki symbolizes defiance in ancient Japan. With this more logical approach in enemy design, players have the opportunity to strategize against them, instead of making random guesses. While it doesn't equate to Persona 5 being harder than 3 or 4, having a more logical game design against the enemies makes the combat system way better. But what is the reason behind P3 and P4 using this kind of design for their shadows? In P3 that has a darker and more existential theme tackling the arrival of death, the shadows were designed to look more abstract to reflect the theme of mortality. They often look faceless, surreal, and distorted. It was meant that way to evoke a sense of the unknown, which for almost all, death is a feeling unbeknownst to us. Additionally, the Shadow's connection with the Dark Hour and Tartarus influenced their appearance, since they are being called to wait for the arrival of the Mother of all Shadows. The calling intended to represent them as an amalgamation, thus the reason for their unnatural look. Then in Persona 4, its theme centers on confronting one's true self. These are the sides that we are too afraid to accept. Thus, we end up distorting it in an effort to hide such perceived flaws. This results in the shadows also looking deformed. Additionally, their connection with the Midnight Channel affects their appearance, as the Surreal TV world distorts them. However, in Persona 5, we see the shadows reverting back from how they look in other SMT games. The reason for this is Ran's power. Notice how the shadow enemies in P3 and P4 are both wearing masks. This symbolizes that they are hiding their true shadowy self. Then we have Ren here in P5 removing those masks, thus revealing the true identity of the shadows, seeing as the shadows are actual beings from the sea of the collective unconscious, which the shadow admits that they have forgotten when recruiting them. Speaking of recruitment, another reason why Persona 5 Shadow is so much better because it brought back the negotiation mechanic in acquiring new personas. In P3 and P4, when you beat shadows, you are randomly awarded with a shuffle bonus, which is a system that provides random buffs like more gold, more XP, healing, and sometimes a new persona. Well, yes, it is a good feeling to be awarded with a shuffle bonus after a fight, but getting the personas this way isn't that fulfilling. In Persona 5, the way you get more personas is to convince the shadow, like how you make demons fight alongside you in SMT games. You talk to them, gauge their different personalities, and answering them right recruits them, piss them off, and they'll bite your head off. I really love how they did this in Persona 2, since aside from just talking to shadows, you can also sing, dance, and even joke around with them. It's more rewarding to get new personas this way since we put the effort into convincing them to join us, instead of just randomly picking a card and getting a new persona. Moreover, demon design shadow can match the theme of the dungeons. Persona 3 Tartarus really suffered from this one, as the shadows don't really match the theme of the changing dungeon. Because on one block you fight a beetle, a samurai, an arm with a sword, whatever these two guys are. There's no running theme, it's just a massive collection of different enemies that doesn't make any sense. At the very least, Persona 4 managed to somewhat make it better, such as Yukiko's castle being filled with shadows that coincide with the princess theme. But Persona 5 did it the best with the demon design shadows, like how Kamoshida's palace has shadows roaming with appropriate looks. You have knights such as Berith, horses like Bicorn and Kelpie, maids in the form of Silky, and even Mara. It represents Kamoshida's distorted lust. Madarame's museum, on the other hand, has shadows that reflects his Japanese art style, as we encounter here the likes of Shisa, Nue, and Inugami. Additionally, the Mementos boss missions took this further, by appointing the right demon design shadow to represent the distorted desire of the targets. Now, this doesn't mean that P3 and P4 shadow design should be thrown out. In fact, Persona 6 can still use their design in the overworld, much like how Persona 5 did it in the palace, with the shadow security guards in Madarame's Museum Palace, or the big grand shadows roaming around Mementos. And if Persona 6 will also incorporate Metaphor's action mechanics, being able to beat enemies outside the turn-based system, then P6 can design the shadows with their own unique moveset. And it also saves time, as ATLUS and P Studio won't have to bother animating unique moves for every personas in the compendium. Of course, Persona 6 should also stick with the demon design shadows like Persona 5, because it is the better choice from game design, lore, and theme standpoint. But how about you guys? Which shadow design do you like better? Let me know in the comments down below. Another thing that Persona 6 can improve is how late game party members should be treated. If you're curious about that, then check this video out. Join Ataka Define for more Persona content. This is Mav, and stay awesome, my dudes.